like many of you, I've spent a good deal of my life either playing sports or coaching sports. And there's a lot of great lessons to be learned. But one of the beauties of athletics that help us in our faith life is that concept of overcoming adversity. Life is hard. And in athletics, there are moments where a play or a game or a practice make your life difficult. And sometimes we struggle to look through that adversity and push through it, succeed in spite of it. Okay. That's where we really separate ourselves from those that are willing to just go through the motions and the hoops, and those of us that are really striving for excellence in all things. And here at SJC and you at home, that's our goal, isn't it? That's what Christ calls us to be, excellent in all things. Be perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. Now, of course, our Lord Jesus, He knows us so intimately. He knows that we're, you know, not quite perfect, as I might say. But He also knows that with Him, anything is possible. So all we need to do is ask. A brief side story. There's a saying that I use in my house. So I have three daughters and a son now. My kids are 7, 4, 2, and now a newborn baby boy. And we use a saying in my house, especially when it comes to athletics, but also with our faith. I'll chant back and forth with my kids. I'll say, well, what do Roys do? My last name being Roy. What do Roys do? And they'll say back to me, never give up. Never give up. That's our goal. In spite of adversity, through adversity, never to give up. We're experiencing fall weather, and with fall weather comes all the things with fall. We have our games and our sports practices, yes, but we also have schooling and testing. We have the gear up and the mad rush for the holidays up ahead. All these things, pumpkin patches and apple orchards, they fill up our calendar. And when our calendar gets full, what happens to our faith life? What happens to our practice of prayer? What happens to our attendance at Mass? Sometimes it can suffer, or it just gets harder. Well, how do we push through that? One more part of my life that it seems to have intersected is my fandom of the Chicago Bears. So I wanted to give a little thank you to the Bears coach, Ben Johnson. He used a quote recently that actually, not even sure if he knows this, but it comes from one of our beloved saints, Saint Jerome. And the quote says this: good, better, best. Never let it rest until the good gets better and the better gets best. My family says it much more succinctly, I think, by just never give up. Through all those adversities, through all those trials, through the chaos and the busyness of our lives here in the fall, never let it rest until the good gets better and the better gets best. Keep striving for excellence. As we fall back and we start to maybe notice ourselves praying a little bit less than we did a few months ago, or we're starting to notice that maybe our prayer life is a touch stagnant, or maybe we're not just getting as much as we used to out of the Mass. Hit the reset button and never give up. Try again. Pray ceaselessly, as St. Paul says, until the good gets better and the better gets best. God bless.